Hi, Minesh Baxi here, and again, I have great guests all the time. So I have somebody who I really look up to him because he's much, much taller than me. How tall are you, Kurt?
4 foot and 33 inches.
Yeah, so
you gotta
people
do the
better have
math.
your math calculator out there because if you don't know how many inches to a foot, you're in trouble.
Yeah, 4 foot and 33 inches, or 5 foot and 21 inches for people that got a C in math. 2 meters, 6 centimeters for metric system people, or if you got an F in math, I'm 6'9".
So he's a fun man. Obviously, he is very familiar with the studio here and the facilities, and he has been all over the world, and we'll talk more about it. So welcome, Kurt.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited because I know you have a lot of good things to share, including all these goodies that people can see and say, hey, this guy really has achieved a lot of result. But it didn't always start like that, did it? And now, but you're in a family of athletes anyway, correct?
Yeah, there were 6 of us growing up in my family, 3 boys and 3 girls. All 6 of us were on athletic scholarship, and 2 of us played professionally.
Wow.
So imagine that household growing up. I was extremely competitive. So that was our foundation. 2 of us went on to play professionally, and after my professional basketball career, I actually settled in to teach. I taught for a while in a school, then I became a counselor. I did that for a while. But then I had an idea. I thought, boy, wouldn't it be neat to sit down with other former professional athletes and hear about their life after pro sports, and more importantly, how they recreated their success. And that's what developed the book, and so I wrote the book. It came out from Glory Days, Successful Transitions of Professional Detroit Athletes.
That sounds very interesting.
It became a regional bestseller. Realized that, oh my goodness, this is bigger than I thought. And so we created a book into a TV show where I interviewed former professional athletes. In fact, this is where it all started. It all started here in Troy at CMN. And so it really morphed from there and it became a commercial television. And now we're looking at a national distribution. We won an Emmy Award back in season 4.
Yeah, people should see that. Raise it up big enough.
This is something that we're proud of, and more importantly, proud of the team. And to me, the bigger platform you build, the more good you can do with people. And so that's the idea.
Wow, that's fantastic. And again, here is what I think happens to a lot of people, especially if they are relatively not as successful or they look at themselves and like, what do I need to do? And I would like you to obviously expand on this is most often you have a decision that you made and obviously you did certain things correct. It's not that people don't have what it takes. Obviously, height is not what I'm talking about because I'm too short. I'm 5'3.5" is last time what my nurse told me. But the point and towards success is the same for most people. Mm-hmm. It never gets simpler, easier than anybody else. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah, 100%. I believe that we're all dealt the same cards in the sense of tall, short, big, wide, whatever. To me, it focuses on our heart, where our heart is. What do we do with our heart? What do we do? It's that connection between here and here. In other words, I might know what the right thing is to do, but then have the desire to do it.
And where do you develop the desire would be the next question I would ask.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think part of it is understanding what my passion is and what my purpose is. And, for a long time it was sports, playing sports. And when that transition happened, it was, boy, what do I enjoy doing? Working with kids. And so did that for a long time. And now I really enjoy just helping people, having an impact. And as a result, I believe that my purpose on this earth is to serve God and serve others. And so everything I do has that focus. And I do it in 2 ways. One is we create TV shows. And the second way that I do that is keynote speaking. In other words, I work with companies and organizations to help them primarily work with rapid change. That's the topic I get the most request for, is working with rapid change. Because as an athlete, you go through a rapid change. Organizations go through a rapid change. And so I found there was a commonality of success. And I applied it to my own life, and I see it applied over and over again with people that are in transition or change.
Very important point there. I think the part which is relevant here, in my opinion, which happens to a lot of us, is somewhere deep down we think we deserve something. And until we have that clarity about what we deserve, which is more than what we have today, we never put in the effort to get something different. And I know I struggle with this all. I was born in India. We were poor, 5 children, 1 big room, 1 kitchen, and that's pretty much...
1 bathroom.
Exactly.
You
outdoor
learn early
plumbing.
It's not all about you, right?
Exactly. Outdoor plumbing. And that's when people say, Minesh, you go camping. I said, I did that for 25 years. I don't want to do that again. And the part is that some of us feel at some point somewhere, I don't know how that happens, is I deserve more. And then we tap into the passion that you talked about, which is where the head and the heart get connected.
How did it happen for you then? What was that connection for you?
For me, I really, interestingly enough, at some point in my life, I was always commended for being good in studies. And I always got good grades in school and college and everything else like that. And somehow, I just can't understand why that transition took place. But I'm more different than my siblings. Okay, I was the only one who had the best grades and everything else, and I'm here in US. All of them are in India. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that I had a desire to be somebody different. And I can tell you, at no point in life does it automatically happen, right? You and I know.
Yeah, there's choices, there's decision. You alluded to that earlier.
Absolutely. Exactly. So when somebody's looking at you and like, he's so successful, what are some of the things you can tell them that they could do to be on that path to achieve their own dream, whatever they feel that they should really have?
Yeah, I think the first step is, I call it a refocus. In other words, understanding what my current goals are and reestablishing goals. Now, that means that typically I have to have goals, right? As an athlete, it's almost inert. You know exactly, always, every day, it's like, what do I want to accomplish today?
Correct.
And what do I want to accomplish 3 months from now? And where do I want to be a starter? Do I want to score? You know, and so as an athlete, it was very easy to create goals. For me, it was after being an athlete, post-athletic career, that was very challenging to say, what are my goals? But I think that's the very first step, is understanding what is a person's goal. And for everybody, it's different.
It is different.
You had success academically.
Correct.
But then how does that translate into your next phase of goals, right? You finish your academia, and then it's like, okay, now what? I did well here, but what's my next set of goals that I'm going to develop? And so I think that's the first step, is it's clarifying your priorities and goals as a result.
Very good point. I struggled in that. So just to complete the thought there, is I struggled as a computer programmer for 12 years. I didn't really enjoy my job until I decided to be a speaker, author, and a business coach, which I've been doing for roughly 20 years now.
That was a new goal for you.
It was a new goal. But
New focus.
I took 12 years to struggle through that process.
Part of the journey, right? To identify that. And then the next step for me is we all have a vast network of people, tapping in a network of people around us to help accomplish those goals.
Yes.
Now, I'm not talking about using people. I'm talking about creating win-win relationships.
Correct.
In other words, here's my goal. Boy, who in my network can I tap into to help build this win-win relationship to accomplish my goals? The next step I found is letting go. And what I mean by that is you know, I've been very fortunate, and I'm very grateful for a lot of the successes in my life, but that doesn't matter.
No.
You know, in order to move on, I need to let go and continue to have success, continue to build things over and over again. And a great example of that is a gentleman. He was a All-American high school basketball player in Washington, D.C. He then went on to become a college All-American basketball player in Syracuse University. He then went on to be the #1 draft pick by the Detroit Pistons.
Wow.
He then went on to be an NBA Hall of Famer, considered one of the best basketball players in the NBA. He then went on to build a $500 million a year business, and he then went on to become the mayor of Detroit.
Wow.
And Dave Bing continued to let go of his past successes and move on to his new successes. He had to refocus and continue to let go to move forward. And so I think that's an important part, is letting go. I'm a history buff. I love history. The Roman generals, when they came home from their conquering lands, and you can look this up in history, when they came home from their conquering lands, the Roman generals, when they came home, had these big campaigns. They were like parades.
Yes.
I'd equate them to the Super Bowl parades today.
Okay.
So these Roman generals have these Super Bowl parades, or in their chariots. They have their family all dressed in white. And literally, you could see in history that they had somebody in their ear on the chariot while they're going through this parade, chirping in their ears, saying, "All glory is fleeting."
Wow.
All glory is fleeting. In other words, great. You accomplish this. What's next?
What's next?
So that's part of the letting go. We have to let go in order to move forward.
Interesting.
The other part is executing. You know, we have to continue to execute over and over. I can have all the goals in the world, but unless I enact those goals, nothing's going to happen. And the final step in success that I've found is having someone, a coach,
yes.
a mentor.
Yes.
And you would understand that part of it because of
Very
what you
true.
do, how important it is for people to get to that next level. It really helps people have an advantage, in my opinion.
I totally agree with you. Now, here is the fun part, in my opinion, is that in the world we live today, information is very easy.
Instantly.
Instantly.
Yes.
Google, YouTube, and anything else like that. But the two things which are not easily found, in my opinion, are the right mentors and being a good student.
So
I think
those are a combination almost.
There's a combination. Exactly. And I think if you and I, once we become a good student, we will find the right mentor because eventually that's the person who can lead us. And I think one of the problems I have with the education system, and again, it's not new. It has been there for a problem. It's been there for a while, US, India, or anywhere else, is mentorship is not promoted heavily. Mentorship is where you have kind of a one-on-one relationship or a very close relationship with a small group of people where you are getting, as a student, the right kind of guidance specific for your journey. And I think that part is missing in today's world. And I'm sure that in your business, in your basketball career, you were able to connect with the right people as mentors and being a good student that helped you propel your career to where it was.
And especially post-athletically, because it's so important. And you know, it's so important because we have so many blind spots. We have blind spots.
Yes.
It's important for somebody to say, hey, listen, have you considered this? I'm wondering if you looked at it this way, if this might work. And so that's so important. That's where a mentor or a coach could come in.
Exactly.
And so those are the 5 commonalities that I found that really, like rocket fuel, that propel people into success, and especially during with rapid change and transition.
So who are the kind of companies that invite you in to be the keynote speaker, be the person like you looking at saying, okay, I can help you? Give me some examples of those.
Yeah. I mean, I've spoken to the world's largest packaging company, the leadership of them, Amcor, out of, here in Michigan. They are the world's largest packaging company. Their leadership to international marketing companies, to financial institutions, to doctors, to really the gamut is there. The primary thing that I speak on is rapid change. So really, any organization that's going through a rapid change that needs some type of change management guidance, that's who I can help.
And like growing pains as an example.
Absolutely.
How would they know the shoe is not fitting right now? We need to get a new shoe. How would they start figuring that out?
Typically, it starts with blisters.
And you know about shoes.
Yes, yeah, or quite a few of them. So, a company has their own blisters, so to speak. And so whatever those blisters might be, whether it be financially or with their workforce, or, that'll start coming out. There's some problems that have to be addressed, and how do we address those, and how do we handle this change as a result?
And how do people get hold of you? And we'll cover that in a couple more minutes in more detail. But just if somebody wants to get hold of you.
Yeah, the simplest thing is KurtDavid.com.
KurtDavid.com. You're the only one on the planet.
KurtDavid, KurtDavid.com. That's the easiest way to find me.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, you're obviously doing shows pretty aggressively as well, letting more people know the message. I love the title From Glory Days because obviously some people did not adjust very well.
Yes.
And whereas you did, and obviously you're helping other people who have maybe and get some more. And here's the other one.
I co-authored a book called The Change. Yeah, this one is called The Change. And this book is a co-authored book. I co-authored it with a couple gentlemen out of L.A., and it's about change management. And basically, in my section, it talks about the 5 commonalities of success for transition. And so how to handle that change. And so it kind of spells it out in there as a result.
Great. So what is next level of success for you?
For me, success is more significance. I mean, I've had a lot of successes in my life. I'm very grateful for that.
Yes.
But I'm at a stage in my life where I'm looking to create more significance. In other words, things that are more lasting and impacting just my own success. And so anything that I can do to impact others and help them have success, that's what's important to me.
Very good point. And I think that's very, very good way to say that. In my case, I have young kids. I have one turning 12 in a couple of weeks, and the other one is 16-year-old daughter. And to me, I'm looking at them as what can I do as a legacy? Not for them necessarily, but in them. So that they can be the people that they want to be, and they can have the life that they want to be, having a kind of life. And we homeschool for that very reason as well. So I can have very close connection with my children as well. And I think significance is a very important part.
Absolutely.
And again, unfortunately, most people may not get there where significance becomes the focus because maybe they're just focused on survival for a while. And I think Zig Ziglar said this, or whoever, survival, success, and significance. So unless you go through survival and then reach success, but at some point you have to be focusing on significance, which is really what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
What are the last few words of wisdom, Kurt, you would like our viewers to know?
Yeah, I think the best thing is just understanding that we all been created for a purpose. Each one of us has been created for a purpose. And tapping into that purpose, we're all different, all shapes and sizes, all gifts and benefits. And tapping into that is the best thing we can do for the short time that we have on this earth.
Wow, that's fantastic. Well, Kurt, I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. The time just flew by.
Always
and again,
does,
and you obviously have so much to share. I know people should go to KurtDavid.com, check that out. And if you're looking for rapid change management as one of the areas that your company needs to master, here is the person who can teach you the principles behind it and get your company to the next level of success. Thanks again, Kurt. I appreciate your time.
No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes.